So today we're going to talk about 3 attacks when our opponent is turtled. A lot of guys, especially in jiu-jitsu, will just sit and turtle stubbornly that you can't get them to move, you can't get your hooks in. So we're going to show 3 attacks that we can utilize from the turtle position without having to put hooks in. They work both in gi and no gi. So here's Joe. He's being a stubborn opponent. He's just sitting in turtle, trying to play it safe. The first one I'm going to show is the clock choke. It's a pretty well-known choke. I'm going to show the gi version and the no gi version, underutilized, I'm sure. So in the clock choke, he's just sitting here. He's on his elbows. Again, I can't get my hooks in, but I don't need to finish this choke. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to reach this hand as deep as I can on the far collar, just like I would be doing for a bow and arrow choke. I'm going to control his wrist, and I want to make sure that I keep my weight heavy on this side. If I get too high, he can roll me. So I want to get this wrist right in, deep collar grip, and I want to keep my weight heavy on this side. I want to just be heavy on that hip. From here, this is very important, I'm going to bury his shoulder with my hips. I'm going to try to move my whole body over top of his shoulder. As I do that, I'm going to start stepping forward. Hips are going to slide over the shoulder, other leg's going to come. I'm going to look up to the ceiling, and the tap's going to come. So whether I have the wrist first or I get it later, I'm going to open his collar. This is always a good idea in any choke, if I can, is to just open and feed it to the choking hand. It can be hard and to grab it kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but if I know where it is, I'm hanging on to it. If I open it just enough, feed that hand in really close to the throat already, boom, I can get my wrist here. Then again, I'm going to keep weight heavy on this side. I'm going to step forward. This is going to be good for balance. I'm going to slide my hips over the shoulder, sit out, lift up. So now we're going to talk about the no-gi version of that choke. Quick flex. Cool, looking good. All right, so same idea here, no-gi now. Same setup. I'm in the same kind of position, heavy through the hip. Control that wrist, whether first or second. I'm going to shoot this hand really, really close to the throat, and I'm going to reach up, and I'm going to grab as much meat on his trap or back on his scap as humanly possible. One thing that I like to tell people too in this one is most people are going to grab kind of here. I want you to imagine like you're trying to get your fingertips pointed right at your face. So if I reach through and I point my fingertips at my face, make that hook here, same thing, I'm going to bury that shoulder, and I'm going to choke. And this is going to be a lot of trachea first, and then it'll turn to blood, but you'll for sure smash that trach. So I'm in here, he's just sitting there, he's being stubborn. I'm going to get it in there, point my fingers at my face, grab as much meat as possible, keep my shoulder close to the head, just close that off, step around, squeeze, and that's tight. So final one I'll show, all of these are very, very similar. The first 2 are basically identical. Squeezes are a little bit different, but footwork is basically going to be the same. So this one is going to be a head and arm kind of version of both of those first ones we showed. So same exact body position on this side, nothing's changed. I'm going to show 2 locks here too. So what I'm going to do in this one is instead of reaching shallow, because you might be wise to that, I'm going to reach deep, catching the arm. The first way I can finish is just our normal kind of rear naked lock. Here, this is really good if you have long arms like I do. Short arm people, I'll show you a better one here in a second. So I'm going to make that grip here, cover the back of the head. I'm going to start to walk around. I'm going to squeeze that bicep, and the tap's going to come. So one more time. Same body position. Maybe I'm wrist riding, doesn't really matter. But instead of going short for just the neck, I'm going to go deep under the arm. Grab, cover the back of the head. Same kind of deal, shoulder action, pinch the shoulder in, walk around the head, fill that bicep, steady squeeze.
When finishing with the arm in, we're still going to circle around the head covering the shoulder, but hips will stay down as opposed to the clock choke when hips will finish up towards the ceiling.
So for all you average length arm people or short arm people, I'm going to show you a good one. I still use this one myself because it's still really, really strong. It just depends on how much grip I can get. So this one's kind of nice. I'm going to block his elbow, hopefully guiding it forward or keeping it where it's at. From this position, I'm going to just shoot it deep again, but I'm going to, instead of grabbing up high on my bicep, I'm going to grab my forearm, And then I'm gonna replace my hand that's blocking and I'm gonna punch it in. So I'm gonna keep pressure into this guy the whole time. From this one, I'm gonna again block with the shoulder. I'm gonna come around the head. I'm gonna get the squeeze. One more time. Block, forearm, pressure back, shoulder, squeeze. So those are 3 good chokes from the turtle position. Those both work really well when our opponent refuses to move from that spot. Again, we don't have to have the hooks in. Each squeeze, again, is a little bit different. A lot of it's coming from the footwork. You'll have to practice. Always ask your partner for feedback if it's cranking or not. Shouldn't be a crank. They should all 3 be really, really powerful chokes. So give it a try, see what you think.
Hey, if you liked the video, please subscribe. If you didn't like the video, please subscribe anyways. As always, too, please look for me on Instagram and Twitter at Ben_Egli. Thanks, guys.